Welcome back my channel. Let's rewind the clock and really understand what makes this coin so special. The 1980 Lincoln penny may seem like a dime a dozen item, but in the world of coin collecting, it holds some shocking surprises. And believe me, by the end of this video you'll be rushing to check your piggy bank, your drawers, your old change jars, and maybe even your kid's toy cash register. First, let's talk about the man on the coin, Abraham Lincoln. He's been featured on the penny since 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of his birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the original design included his full profile on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks encircling the words 1 cent on the reverse. This became known as the wheat penny, and it remained in production until 1958, when it was replaced by the memorial reverse featuring the Lincoln Memorial. Wait, so why are we talking about a 1980 penny? Because believe it or not, the US Mint continued using the Lincoln head design, and the basic structure of the penny didn't change much for decades. In fact, in 1982, the composition of the penny changed due to rising copper prices, shifting from 95% copper and 5% zinc to 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. So 1980 is actually considered one of the last years where many of the older style pennies were still being produced, and that plays a huge role in their collectability today. Now, let's talk about mints. The United States Mint operates several facilities across the country: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. Each of these mints produces coins with different mint marks. For example, Philadelphia Mint, No Mint mark, Denver Mint, D. San Francisco Mint, SSO. If you come across a 1980 penny, first thing to do is flip it over and check the reverse side. Is there a tiny letter near the bottom? If not, it came from the Philadelphia Mint. If it says D, it's from Denver. And if it says S, well, that might be a collector's coin, especially if it was originally issued in a proof set. But here's where things get really interesting. In 1980, the US Mint was cranking out billions of coins, and with high volume comes high potential for mistakes. And those mistakes, they're called mint errors. And some of them are worth serious money. Let's start with one of the most famous types of mint errors, the double die obverse. This is when the design on the obverse, the front side, appears doubled because the die stamp was struck multiple times during the engraving process. Now, this isn't just a blurry image. This is a clear duplication of letters, numbers, or even parts of Lincoln's face point. One of the most famous examples is the 1980 D double die obverse penny, which shows a very noticeable doubling on the date and the word Liberty. Under magnification, you can clearly see 2 distinct outlines, almost like a ghost image layered over the original. These coins are extremely rare and highly valuable. Collectors will pay thousands just to add one to their collection. In fact, a 1980 D double die penny in pristine condition recently sold at auction for over $200,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, worth $200,000. Can you imagine finding one of those in your pocket change? Now, let's move on to another type of mint error, the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet, the blank metal disc, doesn't line up correctly in the coining press. As a result, the hammer die strikes the coin off-center, leaving part of the design incomplete or entirely missing. The value of an off-center strike depends on how far off-center it is. A 10% off-center strike might only be worth a few dollars, but if you find one that's 50% off-center or more, watch out. Those can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. There was one case where a 1980 penny with a 60% off-center strike sold online for nearly $2,500. Imagine pulling that out of a stack of ordinary pennies and realizing it's worth more than your monthly rent. Then there's the broad strike error, which is the opposite of an off-center strike. Instead of hitting the coin off-center, the collar die fails to hold the planchet in place, allowing the coin to expand outward. The result is a larger than normal penny with no edge inscription and often an uneven rim. These are also pretty valuable, especially if they're found in uncirculated condition. Another rare type of error is the wrong planchet error. This occurs when a coin is struck on a blank meant for a different denomination, like a nickel or a quarter. This results in a penny that looks oddly thick or thin, depending on the source material. These are super rare and super valuable. And finally, we come to the proof error, the holy grail of penny mistakes. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors, using polished dies and multiple strikes to create a mirror-like finish. These coins are never supposed to make it into circulation. But sometimes they do. If a proof penny accidentally gets mixed in with regular circulation coins, and someone unknowingly spends it, that's a proof error. And collectors absolutely love them. So what does this mean for you? It means that anyone, anywhere, could have one of these rare and valuable coins sitting in their possession right now and not even know it. Could it be you? Could it be me? Could it be that one dusty penny buried in the bottom of your grandma's sewing box? Let's break it down step by step. First, locate your 1980 pennies. Check the date. Is it clearly marked as 1980? Then, inspect the mint mark. Is it a D, or is there none at all? If it's a D, you're already halfway there. Next, examine the obverse side carefully. Do you notice any doubling on the letters or the date? Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the word liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," and the year. Doubling should be obvious. Not just a smudge or wear from use, but a clear second outline. If you spot that, you might have a double die obverse, and that's a big deal. Also, check for off-center strikes. Are parts of the design missing? Is Lincoln's head cut off on one side? That's a clue. If the penny looks unusually large or has a strange thickness, you might be holding a broad strike or a wrong planchet error. And if the penny has a mirror-like shine, almost like it's brand new, even though it's decades old, you might have stumbled upon a proof error. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if my coin is valuable or just a cool-looking mistake? Well, here's what you do. Take a photo of both sides of the coin under good lighting. Make sure the entire surface is visible. Then, look up reputable coin grading services like PCGS or NGC. You can submit your coin for professional grading, and if it checks out, you could be looking at a life-changing payday. But don't rush to sell just yet. Coins like these often appreciate in value over time, especially if they're graded and authenticated by experts. And speaking of appreciation, let's talk about some real-life examples. In 2019, a 1980 D double die penny was sold at heritage auctions for a staggering $200,000. Yes, that's six figures for one single cent. That sale made headlines across the numismatic world. Collectors were stunned. Experts were amazed. And everyday people started digging through their drawers with renewed hope. Another example, in 2022, a 1980 penny with a 50% off-center strike sold for $2,232 on eBay. Not bad for a coin that was likely spent at some point in the early 80s. And let's not forget the countless other examples of rare pennies turning up in unexpected places. Like the one discovered in a Salvation Army kettle in Ohio, or the one found inside a vintage board game passed down through generations. So what's stopping you from finding one? Nothing, except maybe the lack of awareness. And that's exactly why I'm making this video. Because knowledge is power, and in the world of rare coins, knowledge is also profit. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, after watching this video, grab a magnifying glass, a flashlight, and a bowl of water. Clean the coins gently, don't scrub them, just rinse and dry, and inspect each one carefully. Look for doubling on the obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, wrong planchets, mirror-like finishes. If you find something unusual, take photos, do some research, and consider getting it graded. Even if it turns out to be worth just a few $100, that's still free money hiding in your house. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to pull a $200,000 penny out of your change. Purse.so. Before I wrap this up, I want to remind you, this is not just a story about coins. It's a story about possibilities, about luck, about history, and about the idea that sometimes the most extraordinary treasures hide in the most ordinary places. All it takes is a little curiosity, a little patience, and a willingness to look closer. And hey, if you do find something valuable, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below or hit me up on social media. I love seeing your discoveries. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you never miss another rare coin mystery. Until next time, keep flipping, keep searching, and remember, the next big discovery might be just one roll of coins away. Stay curious, stay lucky, and see you next time. Let me know if you'd like this script formatted for video editing or divided into scenes.